humanity. Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
Welcome to Parrot TV Politics. It is Friday, November 19th. I am Robert Press, the host of the show. Let me introduce my co-host, Mr. Anthony Rivieccio. Anthony, please say something.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. I'm Professor Anthony Rivieccio that has three lives. Predominantly, I'm an income tax and financial advisor. I'm also a professor of business and finance at Herbert H. Lehman College and Monroe College. And my third life is trying to save the world through a wonderful organization I founded called Northwest Bronx Democrat.
And my other co-host is Mr. Dion Powell, who's on location somewhere. Dion, tell us where you are.
Well, I'm County Committeeman Dion Powell of the 79th Assembly District, and I'm also a part of nyconsultant.us for all those people that need a consultant. And right now, I'm in Queens at a VFW for veterans with Taurus Tech, HVAC training services to get all these people jobs, training, and hopefully open up their own HVAC business. So that's where I am now.
Okay, well,
and also founder of the New York State Free Ticket Democrats in the South Bronx and beyond.
Well, let me just say a little bit about myself. I'm a former Community Board 8 member. I was on it for 6 years, vice chair of the Traffic and Transportation Committee, vice chair of Public Safety, and my last year on the board, I was chair of the Budget Committee. I sat at budget priorities hearings with the city agencies and the other district managers and chairs of community boards. And I was asked by George Torres, the chair of community board, the district manager of Community Board 12, what are you doing here? You're not a chair or a district manager. At the end of the day, Mr. Torres said, it's a good thing you're here. You know what you're talking about. However, at the end of that year, all of a sudden, I was not reappointed at the last moment by Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. Why? Well, it seems that in 2017, I did not support Rafael Salamanca. I was with somebody else, a nice veteran who returned home, Mr. John Perez, and at one of the forums, I was warned by two Bronx Democratic County organization people, Mr. Benny Katea and Mr. John Sicaro Jr.
Oh, my God.
Mr. Press, you're up for reappointment. You better watch out.
Oh, my God.
And being the good soldier that Ruben Diaz Jr. is, when it came to reappointment, I was not reappointed. I also applied now for Community Board 11, living in Morris Park for over 2 years with all my experience. But we see that with 10 vacancies, Mr. Diaz put on people, more than half of which who didn't show up to last night's meeting. The meeting was supposed to start at 7 p.m. for Community Board 11.
I'm going to start laughing now, too.
But it started at 7:30. Give me a minute, Dion.
This is absurd.
Okay?
This is really knocking off.
Borough President Diaz came on to the meeting at 8 p.m. to say goodbye to the
People have
members.
told me to leave this goddamn show alone.
Wait, Dion, give me 5 minutes. Okay?
5 minutes for an intro. Here we go.
All right.
It sounds like you're running for office there, Cheesecake.
Let's move on, Dean. Okay. So I've gotten my little tirade out about our borough president. And as you can see, I'm wearing the shirt from County of Jessica Flores, who ran for judge and made the judge. She was one of the two county judges. Unfortunately, the other one, John Rodriguez, didn't make the cut. And one of Richard Soto's people got in.
No, Mr. Soto, and of course, the wonderful organization of Northwest Bronx Democrats.
Ms. Verlene Powell.
Correct.
Her name is
No, Verena Powell.
Verena
Powell.
All right, let's get into our show with national politics. Anthony, how is the economy?
Wow. How is the economy? You know what? That's a real good question. I'm going to give you a real good answer.
Face the camera.
No one knows. And the reason why no one knows is really for two reasons. Number one, and this goes before COVID, is that our economic indicators have always worked in a backwards sort of way. They've always been a month or depending on the info, 2 months behind. So a lot of people can't understand like what happened just recently, where you would say employment figures went up, but during that same month, according to the government indicators, unemployment went down, and vice versa. So the numbers today are, of course, very hard to read and understand. And then you couple that with the fact that it's really hard to understand the economic measurements of COVID, right? Even though we've been in it for a year and a half, these numbers are still very hard to interpret. Are we doing better than a year ago? Are people really getting jobs? Are they getting good paying jobs? Are they getting any at all? How is work at home versus coming, into the office? There are, of course, employers complaining now that even though you got all these mandates, 25-30% of U.S. workers are actually coming to work. So, physical work. So is that translating into less production or more production? Again, there will be some debates on that. You could talk about spending. Do people have money in their pockets, right? Well, if they have money in their pockets, when of course they're the first people that want it, are the landlords that claim they're owed, several months rent, and so on. So to answer your general question, how's the economy? I would say look out, and more so because of it looks like the infusion of money that's about ready to come in from Congress, whether it be the infrastructure bill or the Build Back Better bill, which is still subject to debate because even though it passed the House, it still has to go to the Senate, will infuse money into the economy. And again, some people would question how that money is going to be spent. I think it's fair to say that if the bill does pass, 30% of the bill will be covered by U.S. debt, not U.S. spending. So,
Okay.
How's the economy doing today? I think it's anybody's, up for grabs.
Well, we see the stock market, Anthony. We see the stock market looks like it's on shaky ground, and Dion Powell has a nice big stock investment. What is it, Dion? About $500,000. Is Dion's stock investment in trouble?
You know what? Let me answer it this way. It seems like for the year 2021, every third day has been a brand new Dow record. So we have had significant gains in the stock market over the course of the last year. And according to data that came out yesterday, it seems like every third or fourth business day, we seem to hit a new Dow record.
Well, Dion, are you there? Nope. Looks like we lost our co-host.
He either went for training or he went to get that job. One of the two.
I wanted to ask him about the train because obviously he took the subway there.
There you go,
Dion. You took the subway to get where you are, right?
No, I took the Q44 bus. Why?
Okay. Now, you're not vaccinated, are you?
No.
So, are you, aren't you putting people on the bus in danger being not vaccinated, including yourself?
Wow, I think that maybe we should talk to the bus driver. Maybe he put the people on the bus in jeopardy flying with this elongated Q44 bus on the freaking Whitestone Bridge through small freaking Bayside, Queens, amongst all these people. So no, actually, they're putting me in jeopardy. Want to know why? Because they're more likely to transmit it to me than me to them. And guess what? Masks weren't used on the bus anyway because we're from the Bronx and we don't really.
Well, the thing is, in March of 2020, I caught COVID on the subway.
And back to you.
Coming home from the mayoral press conference. Okay. My hand was on this was before they were cleaning. Okay. And probably this is why they were cleaning because I caught COVID and I made such a big stink about it.
You made a stink? Was that the COVID coming out the other end?
I mean, Dion, you and Anthony can't go into a restaurant without showing your COVID cards, which you don't have.
Oh,
We showed the money
we
you
were
gave
at
me.
one the other day. What are you talking about? We were
Yeah,
at your favorite restaurant the other day, and they were glad to have me. What are you
eating
talking about?
outside, Anthony.
No, we were inside.
Okay. Well, that was for a moment. But let's
You
move
wanted
Small
to
on.
go
businesses don't
outside.
Let's
care.
move
Why? I
on
You
to
can
the
don't
flash
turkey.
know.
your library card. Small businesses don't care. Just flash your library card. They'll nod their head and walk inside.
All right, let's move on. Anybody want to talk about turkey giveaways? Because here's one for you, Dion, to give to your friend Alpheus Marcus. On November 23rd, Cardinal Dolan and the Catholic Charities are distributing 1,000 turkeys. All right, it's 10 a.m. at the Lieutenant John Kennedy Community Center, 34 West 134th Street in Harlem. You might even want to go for a turkey, Dion. So let Alpheus
That's right,
Marcus
Press.
know.
You're a real jive turkey. How about that? You're a jive turkey. Remember that? So
And
that's Harlem. We're in the Bronx, okay?
well, in the Bronx, we have a lot of our elected officials are giving away turkeys too.
Are they giving away
Borough
jive
President,
turkeys? Name
Borough
a
President,
politician that's a jive turkey. Who do you think is a jive turkey, Press? Which politician?
Borough President Diaz is giving away 1,000 turkeys he gets from
He's
Fresh
a jive
Direct.
turkey? What?
He gives away from Fresh Direct around the Bronx. And Anthony, as well as Dion, what was the deal with Fresh Direct coming to the Bronx? I mean, they brought a lot of jobs, but weren't they supposed to bring electric trucks rather than diesel trucks that are polluting the air by where they are? Anyone want to talk about it? No, Dion? Well, all right. Let's move on to a topic also about diesel, about air pollution. Congressman Richie Torres, as well with Senator Schumer, want to cap the Cross Bronx Expressway.
Yes, let's talk about that. I like Richie Torres. He's been consistent, and he represents me. I got to actually give credit where it's due. He does the work. He does a great job.
I agree with you, Andy.
If I can update both of you, I don't know if you've heard, in the last 24 hours, it looks like the governor, Kathy Hochul, is actually going to pick up the monetary cost for that project with the Cross Bronx Expressway. If you haven't noticed, that element has come off the Build Back Better program.
Right. And what we're seeing is this is the time to get money from the governor and all the candidates running for governor. For instance, Tish James is giving out hundreds of millions of dollars that she got in lawsuits to areas. For instance, she's going all around the state giving this area $45 million, that area $45 million, upstate. This is the time to get money from our elected officials who are up for re-election next year. I'm sure, Anthony, our local 80th Assemblywoman, Natalia Fernandez, will be giving out checks soon. She's up for re-election, and she should have a tough race. All right? She is very vulnerable, as well as Jeffrey.
I would presume every district, not just in the Bronx, but throughout the city, is going through the turkey grab. As I'm sure Dion would probably attest to if he's been in his area the last 24 hours, because he's the traveling consultant, is, of course, Mr. Salamakia, as well as other elected officials, have been handing out hundreds of turkeys in the South Bronx area. So, and of course, whoever needs a turkey should, have one. But yeah, that's the general 21st century move.
Well, I'm going to say something, Anthony, right now, because giving out a turkey is good, but people need an oven to cook the turkey in. And years ago, when I was going around with Assemblyman Crespo, Senator Klein, and other state elected officials to NYCHA buildings, people were waiting for stoves and refrigerators for over 5 years. When I brought this to Mayor de Blasio, his answer was, we're owed $18 billion from the state and federal government for NYCHA, which is now over $50 billion. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez has come in with a bill, and now we see the governor all of a sudden interested in helping NYCHA. Again, we need elections every year. Then things are going to get done. Any opinions, guys?
Well, I would like to address Daniel Sario's comment, and he's been trying to correct you all day. So I'm not sure if you're reading the bottom ticker there, Press, but he's making a few comments.
No, I got a cheap little HP, Chromebook. So I can't see these little comments.
All right. Well, if you ever take a ride with press and the journalism mobile, it's like riding with Mr. Mutu's brother. So But anyway, if anybody wants to make a comment live or call us in. And my comment for the freebies, Anthony Rivieccio says, normally this time of year, I go to all the events that have the live hot food. You can sit down and break bread with people and that kind of thing. So those are a little bit limited, but some of them are actually still going. So despite that, one thing I want to bring up is that de Blasio said that even if you got the vaccine, you still should get tested in order to have Thanksgiving meals together. For me, I said, well, does that make sense? Not to this guy. And the question I had that I can't get answered is, can you still get antibody tests for free? If so, where? If not, why not? So those are my points about the free turkeys and the free boosters that go with them. Wait a minute. Maybe I could get a free turkey if I get the vaccine. Press, let me know.
You get $100.
Take a tell. No, actually, no. Tell us more than that. Maybe we should go research that and tell us another 5 minutes about yourself. Keep going.
You can get $100 if you get vaccinated, and if you're a city employee, you can get $500, Dion. Okay, Anthony, anything?
No, except I would like to know one thing: is Jessica Flores given anything for the COVID test?
I have no idea. By the way, speaking of,
you have no idea based on the shirt you're wearing.
She won her election, Anthony. So I'm showing my
right. So you don't know if she's doing anything in regards to vaccine assistance or COVID testing. You don't know anything about whether she's helping or not.
She is a judge-elect, and judges-elect or judges have a different sense of priorities. They can't be involved in political activities.
Let me ask you a question.
I didn't know giving out food to the homeless.
Why isn't our district attorney doing it? Why isn't our district attorney doing it? There are certain things that these people can and cannot do.
What? Auntie Verena's out there in the streets every other weekend doing something in the community. I can't speak for Ms. Flores, but that's unfortunate. But, she's elected now, and that's it. She's behind the bench. I'm sure she's qualified. Her story resonated, or, they just stayed in the bubble. That's number one. Well, yeah, I'm not trying to say hate, but, Anthony Rivieccio has a very interesting point there about candidates that win any office, even my pro bono role of county committeeman, doing some kind of work in the community outside the auspice, but still having synergy, if that makes sense.
Well, I want to answer your question about the cost of the COVID shots. All right.
What cost?
It's a free shot by the city.
I'm talking about the freebie.
When you go for the shot, though, Dion and Anthony, they want your insurance information because they're billing your insurance company for that. Okay, so
you mean to tell me every time I ask them why do I have to give you my insurance information, they say, "Oh no, sure, it's just a pleasantry of ours. It's free." So you're saying they're lying, press?
Yep. And when I got my COVID shot, they asked for my insurance, and I said, "Oh, Mayor de Blasio said it's a free shot, so you're not getting my insurance."
Wow, you name dropping now? You name dropping?
Yep. And they did not get my insurance information. So if anybody is still going for a COVID shot, don't put your insurance information down. Let the city
now
pay.
Remember, Dion. Now, Dion, remember, this is from the man that said 3 months prior that he was immune.
I am.
Well, then why would you go get the shot?
The $300.
Because Big Bird.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Big Bird made the regulations, and Kathy Hochul made regulations that would not allow me to do my job. All right. That is why you got the backlash from the unions in the city.
What's your job?
He's an essential worker. He's a non-essential worker.
I'm an essential worker, Mr. Powell. Okay. I am listed as an essential worker. People in the media are essential workers because we are out here giving out information to the people. I know Anthony has his Facebook page to give out information. Whatever the New York Post says or other papers. Mr. Powell, let's see. How do you get information out?
I don't hear anything. I get it from sponging up, being in your very presence. Can you do it? Can you please whip out your shield? Excuse yourself and whip out that shield and flash it, okay?
Wait a minute. You have the South Bronx Free Thinking Democrats page, don't you?
No, it's called the New York State Free Thinking Democrats in the South Bronx and beyond. But if you want me to call it back to the South Bronx Free Thinking Democrats, I will, okay? For the new year, hopefully we make 1,000 members.
Well, as you see, there's a little tag going down the bottom of our show.
It's called a ticker, and journalism is called a ticker. God damn it!
It is a phone number in case anybody wants to advertise on this show. We have coming up, in June is the primary. By February, we'll know exactly who is running because that's petition time. So people need to get their names out now. And this is a fine place, since this is a political show, to advertise, as you saw with Mayor-elect Eric Adams. He had his commercials on here all the time. Okay.
Are you going to advertise,
all
Robert?
the shameful plugs. What the hell's going on today?
But I want to ask you.
You shake your head and your heart is going to twist off, Rivieccio.
I'm having a heart attack.
We were talking about the 80th Assembly District. I want to move on to the 81st Assembly District, Anthony. Since you're on top of that, it appears that Assemblyman Jeffrey Dinowitz is going to have a real opponent this time. Normally there's a 25% anti-Jeffrey Dinowitz vote. Last year, or last election, his opponent got 40%, George Diaz. And George basically, I have no money to spend on the election, and he got 40%. Now it looks like he's going to be facing a real opponent. You want to talk about this, Anthony?
Do I want to talk about it? Well, you have to be a little bit more specific. I think Jeffrey Dinowitz is going to be in a race? I think every elected official next year will be in some type of race. And yes, Riverdale, like many other areas of the Bronx, is changing, and I think the electoral vote counts are somewhat showing that. So Jeffrey, who's been still maintaining his winning positions, however, at a lower rate every electoral season, I think we'll be in for a hell of a race next year.
And do you want to name the candidate?
Well, there are several, but you seem to know who they are. Why don't you tell us?
Well, I would figure that you might be working on her campaign. It's a woman, and let
me put it this way, just to again clarify things. 347-575. Of course, you can call Dion for the below Tremont consultant help. Over Tremont, feel free to call Northwest Bronx Democrat.
Dion,
below Tremont.
And what's happening below Tremont, Dion? Anything?
Well, what's happening right now below Tremont is, so far as I see it, with redistricting and reapportionment, all is quiet. No news is good news. Wait a minute. There's a few people with targets on their back. One of them is Mr. Sepulveda. He has a target on his back. Who else has a target on his back in the South? So far, Sepulveda. Amanda Septimo, I'm not sure. Burgos, I don't know. He's kind of quiet over there. Chantel, no. Latoya, no. Gustavo has a target on his back, by the way. That's spilling below Tremont. And Jose M. Serrano, he too has a question mark as well with redistricting and reapportionment. Some people say that they're being punished. Gustavo, Jose M., and some other people. Sepulveda as well as a target on his back. But that's it for now. Above Tremont and upper northeast section of Tremont, which is kind of under my purview, right, Mr. Rivieccio?
Well, let me just stop you here for a moment. Let me stop you for a moment. Senator Sepulveda has always had a target on his back ever since he became an independent senator on his own. He was with former, whatever you want to call him, councilman now, Ruben Diaz Sr., but he broke away from Ruben Diaz Sr. And what's happened in the past 2 years, any candidate, including Ruben Diaz Sr., has had a bigger target on their back. And we saw that in Diaz's loss, in Richie Torres's win in the council race, in the congressional race. We saw that in William Rivera, who was being backed by Ruben Diaz Sr., that he lost. We'll see that probably in the candidate Dennis Oswald Dennis, who is going to be backed by Ruben Diaz Sr. and lose. And it just seems that everybody who's been backed by Ruben Diaz Sr. has lost. And Kenny Burgess, by the way, is a very interesting person because he was the budget director for Ruben Diaz Sr., and Ruben Diaz Sr. helped him get elected. So I can't see how Kenny Burgess doesn't have a target on his back. Guys?
I think because go ahead, Mr. Rivieccio. Yeah, I want to hear.
No. Actually, I would like to ask my co-host, Mr. Powell, a question since we're talking about targets on backs.
Also, we're talking about below Fremont, by the way.
I would like to ask my host's opinion, Mr. Powell, on how he feels about again talking about target on backs, right? In regards to the 80th Assembly District, my district, of course, as well on the east side, where it looks like the male district leader race has several targets on several people's backs. You, of course, have the current district leader there, Marco Sierra. You now have several candidates that are publicly coming out, like Christian. Christian Ramos, Mr. Robert Press, our host has announced. Mr. Remy Salas will soon be announcing, I understand. I even hear there's whispers of John Socorro thinking of coming in, as well as people such as your dear friend Sammy, and even Miss Yadi is considered. Well, Yadi's female. We'll talk about that in a moment. But talking about the male district leader, there seems to be several candidates that are going to be in that race, and some of them have, I believe, targets, on their back, according to the political whispers. Do you have any opinion on that, Mr. Host, Mr. Co-host?
Well, you wanted to ask Dion, so let's have Dion answer first.
Okay. Number one, Kenny Burgos, the every 5th Assembly District, and I'll lead into your question, Mr. Rivieccio, which is in that 85th Assembly District, when Marcos Crespo was installed, hasn't really had many contenders. And for him, by himself, Kenny Burgos is another heir apparent for that thing. So the leadership in that district, when it comes to community, I think is in question when it comes to that Assembly seat. Nobody's really rising to the occasion, but maybe that's a interesting point for me to explore below Tremont. The next issue, the district leader race that you guys are talking about, hopefully Mr. Press excuses himself and recuses himself from this question, so he might be a potential candidate. It's going to be very interesting. A lot of people are going to be scrambling because we're talking about male district leader, as you said. Messiah Fernandez is another one with a huge target on her back for next year as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what the slates are, to see what district male leaders align with who, and see if they trickle down and upward. But if someone was smart, not me, of course, they should run for assembly and district leader at the same time. That way those votes can trickle down and vice versa.
Now, Dion, I'm going to let you know that John Perez ran for the assembly in the 87th Assembly District, and he ran for district leader at the same time. He lost the assembly race, but won the district leader race that year.
Who just gave you the idea strategy? What's up, boss?
No, so that strategy doesn't work unless you're the elected official. Like Jose Rivera. How many years has Jose Rivera been the assemblyman and district leader, Anthony? 10 years, 12 years? It only works if
I think it might be a little longer than that.
It only works if you're the elected official. Now, as far as the 80th Assembly District, nothing is official until petitions are filed.
Wait a minute. You said it only works for the elected official, but previously you said it worked for John Perez, who ran for both. So
and he lost the assembly race.
Right, but you said it works. So this
no,
guy
it doesn't work.
Over here. Okay,
it doesn't work unless you're the elected official. Okay, you can't. For instance, Dion Powell in the 79.
Unless you're an elected official for district leaders. Is that what you're saying? You can't win a district letter race unless you're an elected official.
Basically, yes. You look at Vanessa Gibson, who was the councilwoman at the time. She's the district leader in her assembly district, the 77th Assembly District. Okay, you look at certain elected officials who are their district leaders in their assembly district. That's the way it goes, Dion. You can't just.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking strategy as a consultant. If anybody wants to become a district leader, thanks to John Perez, your buddy's example, they should run for both positions the state race and the district leader race, so that way those votes can trickle down. Now, Anthony Rivieccio, professor, doctor, minister, rabbi, isn't that correct from your strategic review?
No, because
it is. It would be considered one strategy, yes.
Only if, because if you have a strong candidate for district leader and a strong candidate for assembly, they can help each other.
No, Bob. What I don't think you're understanding in regards to Dion's question is that Dion is saying his overall objective is to win the district leader seat, not the assembly seat, the district leader seat. So Dion is saying if you run for both, there's a plausibility, using John as an example, that you could lose the assembly seat knowing that's not the seat you want. The seat you really want is the district
sorry,
leader.
Press. Looks like me and Rivieccio have to whip out our consultant credentials here and make sure you see what's going on. So you need, Rivieccio, why don't you whip out
consulting credentials
for this guy?
Consulting credentials. Okay. Dion, well, let's not go there. But
you see, he's taking them back by my credentials.
Let me discuss the 80th Assembly District race.
They're right here.
Okay. Why did John Cicaro Jr. lose the last time? There were plenty of people who were opposed to him, including myself. It was payback for me in my backing Marco Sierra. Okay. Unfortunately, Marco Sierra turned out to be, well, I can't describe what he.
No.
Wait, let me explain, Anthony.
John Cicaro fell victim to the same analysis that your friend John Perez fell into when he ran in the 13th council district. He ran in a district where nobody knew him. And that's why John could not get any traction, even running with Natalia Fernandez.
That's John Cicaro Jr., right?
Let me add on to that because I've known John. He's been in the game as long as I have for the past, 10 years, this Young Democrats of the Bronx. Is that you said that where nobody knew him, but I want to add on to that because I don't like to throw shade on anybody I know personally, is that he didn't make himself known. That's the catch on top of that. He didn't make himself known in that district enough to win. Does that make sense?
Well, let me tell you guys something, because in talking to Assemblywoman Fernandez, she said, I supported John Cicaro Jr., but he didn't do the work. He wasn't out there. He did nothing. Okay, that's the words of Assemblywoman Natalia Fernandez on John Cicaro Jr. And as you said, Dion, the strategy was not to give the Assemblywoman a primary so the votes couldn't drop down. Okay, and who was the biggest vote getter in the 80th Assembly District race? Irene Estrada. She got the most votes. She beat her opponent in her own area, Tracy Towers. Okay, she basically carried Marco Sierra into office, not the other way around, because she got the most votes. All right, Remy Salas, on the other hand, now that's going to be County's gift to Natalia Fernandez, because County wants to keep their district leaders so they can say what a great job Jamal Bailey is doing and vote for them. Vote for him. Irene Estrada had the guts, and she was the only district leader not to vote for Jamal Bailey for county leader. She abstained, saying that, I don't know what Jamal Bailey is going to do. And has he been a good county leader? Go ahead, Dion. Has Jamal Bailey been a good county leader as long as he's been county leader? What's his good parts? What's his faults?
Well,
no answer.
You didn't give me a chance because, somehow you bring it back to center, which is yourself. So Jamal Bailey was another person I know since in the game when he was a young district leader back in the day. So far on the Bronx side, I've heard negative things, but the positive things that is he's the Bronx county chairman, right? So as of now, one of the things that he can say for his district is the YMCA situation, which has brought a lot of good possibilities in that district. Now for galvanizing the troops, so far, yes, everybody that was on his slate last year that ran for office has won so far for city council and borough president. Does that make sense?
Let me just correct you before Anthony answers. He did not bring the YMCA. That was Assembly Speaker Carl Hasty who got that YMCA in there. Okay, not him, and it was Mayor de Blasio working with Assembly Speaker Carl Hasty, because I was there, and that's what Mayor de Blasio said. Assembly Speaker Carl Hastie and I. Not Jamal Bailey's name was mentioned later on as one of the elected officials. Anthony, opinion, is Jamal Bailey doing a good job as county leader?
Well, in regards to the Bronx Y, Robert's absolutely correct. Jamal was able to get whatever credit is geared to him, more so with the affiliation of Carl Hastie, who was working on that project for at least 10 years prior. To answer your question, as far as his effectiveness, I'm only going to guide you to what his current legislation is as of yesterday. He has proposed with other legislators, but he's the lead sponsor as of yesterday, that he is creating a law that he calls is a freedom of speech law to make sure that rap lyrics do not get affiliated within the court system, that they do not get interpreted as an intent of what a male or female rapper might be suggesting or not suggesting. And I can't go into the pros and cons of all of that. I would only say that with all the things that the Bronx right now has to worry about, I would, my own opinion, put something like that on the back burner. But Mr. Bailey, just like Mr. Diaz, and just like a lot of our officials that like to rap while they're working, I guess, that seems to be the more important thing today.
I can only wait to hear what the women have to say with some of the lyrics. Well,
that's something I said publicly, which I don't shout people out, that I said I don't know about when that piece of legislation. Just like when another person I knew in the game, Zelda Amiri, say senator from Brooklyn, he also pushed legislation in which held gun companies liable for murders. And that's another one I wasn't sure about that actually kind of made sense. But we'll see what it looks like in practicality, like defund the police.
Well, since we're a impartial show, let's ask how the Republican county leader is doing. Anthony, how is, let's see, who is he? That's Mike Rendino. How is Mike Rendino doing as Republican county leader? And let's say that Anthony has worked under the Republican Party as a poll coordinator. So how is Mike Rendino doing, knowing that you've worked for him, Anthony?
If anybody needs any help, please feel free to call 347-575-5045.
You're not answering the question.
Please repeat the question.
How is Mike Rendino doing as Republican county leader, knowing that you've worked for him as a poll coordinator at election time?
Well, I've worked for Mr. Rendino in a variety of different capacities. I'm not sure where the question came from or where it's going to or leading to, but my bigger worry is, according to Mr. Zellnor, as I'm sure Dion knows, there may not be a Michael Rendino, right? But it looks like part of his bill is to eliminate all of the Board of Election commissioners. So there will not be a Michael Rendino. There will not be a Democratic commissioner. There won't even be a conservative commissioner.
But Rendino is not a commissioner. He is the Bronx Party chairman. He is Jamal Bailey's equal.
He's also a commissioner. So
are you asking political appointments to the Board of Elections? Does that clear that up, gentlemen?
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Now, Dion, what is your opinion of Mike Rendino as Republican chair?
Well, I don't have any comments, but I want to talk about Mr. Patrick McManus of the Conservative
We're going to get there in a second. So you have no comment on Mike Rendino.
Okay, if you want to make a comment about Mike Rendino, in my opinion, has a lot of missed opportunities, but he has a lot of untapped potential if he were to access it. For example, I'll go to a very case in point. Alexander Miche from this area that lost his race. Mike Rendino, if he would have been more involved, maybe this guy would have won, but despite being a personality in of himself. So that was a great missed opportunity. Another thing, Mike Rendino might also want to publicly, blow up that, Alexander Miche almost won, to let them know that in the Bronx it is possible for a Republican to win with all this progressive imploding.
Well,
You know
Dion,
something,
wait, wait, wait,
Dion,
Anthony.
Dion, let me answer this, and hopefully it will answer the question that I still don't know why you're asking it in the first place, but at least it will give you some of my opinion. The one reason why Michael Rendino is still there is because, like our former friend Bill Newmark with the Conservative Party, they turned out they are still good, connectable people for fundraisers, and they can bring in money. So, do they have good boots on the ground? No. Do they have good organizing apparatuses in place? No. Although they are now trying to reestablish that. Do they have money? They've always had money, and they will
No, but
always
I want to
continue to have money.
I'll add to that when you mentioned fundraising, because that strikes a nerve with me too, is that they have one of the greatest fundraising mechanisms in New York State, if not the city and beyond, which is AOC. Any and all conservative right-wing hate money for AOC can go directly their way with a simple e-blast as they want to get rid of her, no matter what candidate they put in there against her. And that's one of the greatest fundraising tools the Bronx GOP, if not the GOP of New York State, has.
I just want to go back to what you said about Alexander Misi, Dion. Misi has sent out a press release that he's running against Chuck Schumer. Okay, so I don't see how losing a council race makes you a candidate for U.S. Senate. Okay, especially with the comments that people made about Mr. Misi not showing up for events, leaving events, and I'm not going to really say anything bad about him. I think he did a good job, or I should say John Sereni did a good job having Mr. Misi win the 82nd Assembly District, but Mr. Misi got creamed in his own district, the 80th Assembly District, which is the second part of that 13th Council District. Now, but let's move on to the Conservative Party. Anthony, comments about the Conservative Party. Chairman, Mr. Patrick McManus.
Wow.
You didn't see this?
You know that
what the hell?
I think that's a much harder question to answer. Bill Newmark was a very loved and dear person and chairman of a declining conservative club and party. And I think Patrick McManus now has a double hill decline, trying to reestablish the Conservative Party as a party, which of course would have been, what Bill Newmark was trying to do in his later years, as well as keeping the apparatus flowing. I think Patrick has done has had a reasonably good first year in trying to establish relationships. What I think Patrick is finding out, and I know Dion will probably speak to this a little bit, is it's very important, and I think he learned this from Bill Newmark. That you need to establish third party relationships, and I think Patrick in his first year is starting that process in a reasonably good manner.
Right. And Dion, any comments knowing that you were the Conservative Party candidate in the 79th Assembly District?
Yeah, Bill Newmark holds a special place in my heart because without him, I would have not been in a general election last year for Assembly. Patrick McManus is like the new golden child of the Conservative Party in New York State. Jerry Kassar, who's also the state chairman, he said this is the first time I've ever been to the Bronx when they went to the Bill Peppertone fundraiser below Tremont by Yankee Stadium, Yankee Tavern. So now, having said that, Patrick McManus has done the best he can, and I've seen him go above and beyond. But just that he's a person that has to get used in his own skin to the political realm because he's a very straight shooter. And honesty, integrity, loyalty in this business is not very good, unless you know how to navigate with someone like myself. He's open to third parties. I've had him meet Larry Sharp at the Bronx Libertarian Party meeting. And he's also very big on minority inclusion and young people to be the future of the Conservative Party and third partyism. Now, there's been a lot of dropped opportunities to have minorities like myself and others who are conservative and plus evangelical leaders here in the Bronx to join and revive the party. That's one thing. And also, I've told him, and I'll say it here publicly, it was a missed opportunity to have, a candidate in that assembly district that Pichardo stepped down from, because the Conservative Party didn't have a candidate. That would have been a nice time for them to shine, to have a candidate in that special election. But the future looks bright. Patrick McManus is getting courted by different candidates on the right side of the fence. And next year looks promising. But another thing about Patrick McManus that I've seen the other third parties is I've been with him when he's been outside getting rodeo registrations at the events of people just on the streets. And that's where it all begins.
Uh-oh.
Oh, SpaghettiOs. Looks like he's
Oh.
down for the count. All right, well, let me once again whip out my consultant credentials to say I can make now the show all about me, myself, and Irene.
Oh, my God.
So now I'm going to switch it to national.
Uh-oh.
Okay, he's back. So we're talking about national news now.
I'm sorry, Dion. I just had to go, laugh a little. Okay.
Blow your nose.
We'll say that. But Dion, Bill Newmark was a legend in the Conservative Party. He was a radical. He did not agree with the state. I don't know what the hell that was.
Looks like you had a break in the technology.
Our producer put up the wrong thing. I want him to put up a picture of
Dion. I think that was him one night practicing in their producer meeting.
Oh my God! What a nice gag!
I wanted our producer to put up the picture outside of Assemblyman Dinowitz's office with the protest, where the woman was holding up the swastika, where Rob Astorino was denouncing the legislation introduced by Assemblyman Dinowitz to have all children ages 2 to 12 vaccinated, whereas the CDC, though, says only children as low as 5 years old can get the vaccination. So how can you make a law for 2 to 18-year-olds when they only start at age 5? So, but Anthony was there, and Anthony was in the photo with the woman and with Rob Astorino. So, Anthony, why don't you give us a little description of what the event was about?
Well, I don't think or know or see if you're going to have the picture up. Let me, I guess, go into somewhat detail. As I'm sure Bronxites might know, there was a protest in front of Jeffrey Dinowitz's office last week. It had to do with what people there felt, and I felt as well. I think this might be your picture.
Yep.
And what you see are a group of people that I met for the first time there. And there were some people there themselves on the outer picture sides of both the right and the left-hand side that were first-time people like myself. And what I felt I was there for, and a lot of people felt they were there for, was to protest what they felt was a medical choice. So much the reason I feel in regards to vaccination, that I think, again, my own opinion, that I don't think the vaccinations have been proven to work. And then, of course, I don't have children, but if I feel that way as an adult, if I was a parent, I probably feel 5 times more that way in regards to subjecting my child to it. So I was very, and I still am very, very worried about how parents are going to react to this. These early pictures of kids taking these shots, I don't know if anybody's noticed, these kids are crying. These kids are crying as they're taking the shot. Okay? These kids are probably scared to death. Yeah, they got mommy and daddy over there saying everything's going to be all right. Shots, but they don't have that. They're probably scared to death. Now, this woman on the right that you see here with the swastika sign, and I'm only going to defer to Robert Astorino, which I totally agree with. I didn't see that picture. I didn't see that poster there at the event. I didn't see it, obviously, when the picture was taken, because you see me on the further left-hand side. And I don't even know what any of that was about. What I do know is that our Assemblyman Jeffrey Dinowitz is the prime sponsor of this mandate bill, which I don't believe in, and that's why Northwest Bronx Democrats was there.
Right, that's Anthony in the lower left-hand corner. You could tell with his hat on that he has, as he has now, and his mask, right?
Next to the mama bears. Next to the mama bears.
Okay, now, I will tell you my opinion is that they are kind of, matching this mandate that you're forcing upon people as Nazi Germany forced upon the Jews that they had to do this, they couldn't own stores, then they put them into concentration camps. And they went a little extreme with that symbol. There was also a man with a gold star on his jacket. It is not right, but Assemblyman Dinowitz and our county leader, Jamal Bailey, condemned that action, but they are a bunch of hypocrites, Assemblyman Dinowitz and Jamal Bailey, because when Marco Sierra, the district leader, came after me and harassed me at a poll site, they refused to do anything. So Jeffrey Dinowitz and Jamal Bailey are a bunch of hypocrites. Now, you wanted to say something about this picture, Dion.
No, Dion? I was just saying it's back to you now. And I think my T-Mobile, which sucks, I've been 20 years with Sprint. The quality of service for the hotspot is horrible. But here I am again. So what happened over there with Jeffrey Dinowitz, once again, out of my jurisdiction, but it was on my radar because a lot of people may not know that I'm the director of outreach and partnerships for Blexit New York, Black Exit, and we have been steadfast and against mandates. I actually hosted an event with them, anti-vax mandates, workers' rights, create solutions to the problem of what workers should do if they're being fired or have been fired from their job, religious exemptions, medical exemptions, legal rights, and of course the civic education piece of who represents you and how to talk about it.
Any other comments, Anthony, about this?
I think that story blew up in 95 different ways than the original purpose. And the original purpose is that parents are scared for their children. One side story that came out of this that I thought was fascinating is that they found out through investigative journalism that these people that are being controversial, like you see that woman with the swastika, the gentleman that wore the David, the son of David's pin, the Star of David's pin. Supposedly, these were people that worked for the New York Botanical Garden.
Yes.
And these people, according to them, were fired for racist, situations. And I found that to be fascinating because, as I said to people, well, are they calling the Botanical Garden fascist?
Well, Jeffrey is a big supporter of the Assemblyman Dinowitz is a big supporter of the Botanical Gardens.
And Assemblyman Dinowitz is also a very big supporter of mandates in general. Mandates of vaccines isn't new to him. He's felt that way for the last 20 years.
Well, he's said that we have mandates of shots, that children have to get their vaccinations in school, and this would just be another one that they would have to get. I mean, of course, his son was a teacher, a special ed teacher for 14 years, so we really haven't heard anything from his son, though, about it, since he was a teacher. But like I said, we have a few minutes left. I'm going to put a cheap plug in for my blog, www.100%bronx.blogspot.com. I put up a lot of information. I did 2 stories on this. One about what happened because I was there, that was my photo, and one about the hypocritical part of Assemblyman Dinowitz and our Bronx Democratic Party leader, Jamal Bailey. So let me turn it over to Anthony or Dion if you have anything to plug.
No. So real quick, Mr. Host, you asked us, you asked Dion, you asked me, what was our opinion on how Jamal Bailey was doing. So I'm going to guess your answer to the same question would be is that he's not doing good because he's a hypocrite?
No, my answer about Jamal Bailey is when I went to him when Marco Sierra broke 2 election laws, calling me a Republican when I was on his Democratic petition, all right? I mean, it seems that these people have selected amnesia. or they're just nuts, okay, when it comes to it. And I'm going to say that, okay, because how do you say somebody's a Republican when they're on your Democratic petition? And then how do you stop an election coordinator from doing their job? That was 2 laws that he broke. He was telling poll workers what to do when he's not supposed to. And he went over, when I gave my media credentials to the poll coordinator, oh, let me see them. And I wouldn't let him see them. He had the poll coordinator stop what she was doing and read my media credentials to him. That allowed me to do what he said I couldn't do, okay? He is a person that I went to Jamal Bailey, and I asked Jamal Bailey to get rid of him, to call a meeting, and you know what the answer was? I said, according to New York State election law and the Bronx Democratic County laws, he can dismiss Marco Sierra as a district leader. And the answer that I received, well, I haven't read the Bronx County rules. I don't know what I can do. Okay, this is what you have leading the Bronx Democratic Party, a man who does not know what he has, his power, or what he can and can't do. All right, that's what I'm going to say on it. All right, there's my answer, Anthony. So if you or Dion have anything else to say, we're in our closing minutes. I want to thank our viewers.
No, what the hell is happening right now?
What I would say then is that the Bronx Dem shirt that
I didn't even get to ask my comments.
Go ahead, Dion. Go ahead, Dion.
Jesus Christ. So one last time, press, wipe off, clean off your Fifth Avenue Magoo 3D glasses, and here are my consultant credentials, okay? So I would like to talk about the Workers' Family Party. Did you know that Workers' Family Party is one of the top 4 political parties in New York State? But do they actually have a Bronx office or a Bronx, chairman? So I just want to put that out there as my comment. We need to target the Workers' Family Party and put in the Libertarian Party. Thank you.
They have, Dion. They have. Off and on, they have had one for the last 20 years, off and on. It used to be predominantly based in Co-op City. They've had problems keeping it there, but they have had, off and on.
At election time. When it came to elections, the Working Families Party would go to candidates. Do you want our endorsement? One of the latest ones was Mino Laura in the special election and the election in the 11th Council District. And they backed Mino Laura to the heights. They also backing were Working Family Party candidates, Gustavo Rivera and Alessandra Biaggi. And it would, we may dump on Jeffrey Dinowitz, Anthony and I, but his son won the election and beat Mino Laura by a landslide. Go ahead, Dion, anything else?
TaurusTech.org, TaurusTech.org. Come get your HVAC training and job position at TaurusTech.org, New York State of free thinking Democrats in the South Bronx and beyond.
In our last minute, Anthony, I'll give it to you. Go ahead, whatever you want to say about Northwest Bronx Democrats and your Facebook page.
I want to see you flash your political shield, okay? Flash your consultant shield, okay? I want to see it for the people.
Well, let me take the last part of that first. I can't flash my consultant shield because I like to keep my envelopes to. So in regards to the first part of your
wait a minute, Anthony.
Let me wish our audience a happy Thanksgiving.
You froze up on the envelope part. Where does these envelopes go? And yes, let's wish our audience a happy Thanksgiving, because we'll be on after Thanksgiving, the day after Thanksgiving, to give a recap. So where do your envelopes go? It kind of froze up a little bit when you said envelopes.
And please flash something. The ladies want to see something. Flash something, please.
Go ahead, Anthony.
Okay, I didn't know I froze. So again, let me answer the last part of that first. I like to keep my credentials in a non-public way, like I do my color of envelope. In regards to the first part of your statement, like I was starting to say and acknowledge, I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. More importantly, a safe and healthy weekend. And that's really all I have to say. Just wish everyone a safe, healthy, and good eating Thanksgiving weekend.
Dion, any final words since we have about 20 seconds left?
Go red, black, and green. Red, black, and green.
And that should just about do it here. Like Anthony said, let's wish everybody a safe and happy Thanksgiving. And that's about it, unless anybody else.
Next week, you'll see us eating the leftovers on this show, and we'll discuss.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Well, gents, Dion's got to go. Bye-bye.